Pounders. Welcome back. Tonight, we got a special guest, a friend of the show, super sharp. You probably know her for being a Jaleel McLaughlin truther, a waiver queen on Legendary Upside and Ship Chasing. Steph, welcome to the live stream.
Thanks for having me.
Always fun to run this one back, too.
Always have a good time over here.
So how many BBMs have you done so far, and how many do you plan on doing this off season?
Well, I think I'm going to max it this year. I really do like the payout structure. So that's my plan. I'm about at 21. I'm trying to pace myself.
Nice.
I only did a few the first day, basically, when they came out, and then stopped until the schedule. And then I'm kind of, laying a little bit low until we get more news and there's some more movement.
Right. And so those 21, I'm assuming you're basically trying to predict the risers, the fallers, and just really hone in on that edge of the early season drafting.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, getting some shares now.
Who's been your go-to early versus who's adjusted and you're not drafting them anymore because their price might be a little too expensive now?
I don't know if there's anybody I'm like totally that I wasn't, that I'm not drafting that I was, but I am, loading up on some of the rookies quite a bit. Especially like I have a good bit of like Rome and Worthy and Ladd and some guys in that range, Also, I'm trying to get like some shares of some Brooks and Benson in there. I like them as well. But I mean, early wide receiver. I'm doing a lot of elite tight end and a little more elite quarterback than in the past because I used to be a little more on the weight or at least mid-range.
Right. It seems like some of these late QBs too right now where their price, it seems like it's only can go up with like Derek Carr, Bryce Young, even Daniel Jones. These seem like QBs to me that seem like clear risers where those early round QBs, sure, if we're drafting early, we want to get that edge of being able to get the players the closing line value, right? So you don't want to go zero elite QB because then you won't have those combos with the closing line value that you got in these early drafts. But the movement probably isn't there for these top guys if we're looking at closing line value perspective.
Yeah. But I think you still want them. I mean, we know that they're going to score points and that they're capable. And right now, a lot of it also seems to be the opportunity cost. If it's a lot of rooms, I'm still able to get a strong wide receiver room with just a couple detours. Obviously, you have to pick your spot. You can't do everything. But there's still a few places you can skew in the first, 7 rounds or so and still like your team.
What's been like your go-to roster construction in order to get X player later in the draft? So you do this certain sort of draft style in the beginning so you can grab maybe X player in the middle round. Who would that player be?
I don't know if I necessarily always target a specific player. I do tend to do I like to get anchors, not necessarily at running back, but I mean a tight end this year, especially, I'd say. I really like my teams better when I do get an earlier tight end and don't have to do 3 late ones. Yeah. And, that gives me some room. I like to get probably some running backs, I like, Warren. I like Chase Brown, some in that range. I really like that 0 RB. And then I like to be able to go back because there's actually some wide receivers right after that I do want exposure to, like Wicks is becoming popular. Downs, I like Raheed Shaheed. So I don't want 0 of them because sometimes when I do really extreme 0 RB, you're still pounding running back in that spot. So I like to be able to kind of float back in and out.
Yeah. Oh, you're a very balanced drafter. I think everyone in this stream knows that, and the way you draft is impressive. And that's what I really try to stress on this stream, is just being able to draft balanced rosters that give you the best chance to advance, have enough upside for the week 17, enough correlation. And yeah, really just the advance rates are huge, because if you're not advancing in that 2 out of 12 first round, like what's the, so it's funny because I'm also drafting a lot of early tight end teams, and we actually got a little pushback on our first Sam Laporta share the other day of my 11 drafts. And it's interesting because we just had the tight end one last year go off the board at pick 6. Now the first tight end off the board is at 29. This team doesn't really add anything to take targets away from Sam Laporta this year. Or do you think, what side of the fence are you on for Sam Laporta in this price?
Laporta's a little bit tough, not because I think he's necessarily overpriced, but relative to the guys right behind him, they're so much cheaper. And also I'm looking at, like, Travis Kelce, maybe not quite as much this year, but Mark Andrews, like guys like that, especially Andrews, he's the number one receiving option on his team. Where Laporta, he's still battling like ARSB and stuff. So, maybe Jameson steps up. We don't know, even though they didn't add anybody. But he's still not their number one guy. He's still great. And it's kind of, and same thing with like McBride. Now they have Marvin Harrison.
Right.
But again, McBride's going, in the 40s.
That's the best argument against Sam Laporta, is the price of some of the other elite tight ends. But that alone won't have me under 7% on Laporta.
No, because I'll probably be even too.
That's the way I see him at this price, is anywhere from 7 to 9%. You're going to want some shares because he can separate, and it is a 3rd round pick. It's not Travis Kelce at pick 6. So I do think, with that argument of the later tight ends, again, Mark Andrews coming back from injury, they also don't add a lot that should take away from his target share. We'll see what they do at tight end, the snap counts there. But we did sneak into a draft. Shout out to the YouTube memberships as well as the Patreon subscribers. We appreciate you. And of course, we are on somewhere in the back here. Okay, we get pick 8. We're right next to Nick. Oh, this is perfect.
Oh.
The stream gods are looking down on us. Josh, Frank, Logan, King of QC, Pounders in the first 4. This is going to be a tough room. Okay, good. At least on the back, I'm not recognizing Very Blessed, Lent, GPN. Do you recognize these 3?
I need glasses.
There we go. Magnetized it for you.
All right. I'm like, I didn't think I did. I don't wear any. But, man, he was looking small for a minute there.
Jefferson off the board at 6. Amon-Ra at 7. Good with Breece Hall here?
Yeah.
All right.
I usually go by, I mean, the first round, honestly, I stick pretty close to ADP.
Yeah. Yeah, Breece Hall, I'm going to want my 8%. He's not someone that I'm taking shares out of the first round for someone else. Same thing with Bijan.
I'm not fading anybody in the first round. Like I said, I'm pretty much taking what I can get them.
Mm-hmm. For me, if it was going to be someone, it would be Puka, and maybe Gibbs. I'm going to be a little less on Gibbs, and that's just a take on Drake London. I have him ranked at 12 right now.
But you can still get London where he's going. Even though, like, sometimes we have players, ranked higher, but we don't always take them where they're ranked. I still try to get them. Yeah.
No, that makes complete sense. It'll be interesting too, like later in the draft season, once we've seen all the ADP shift, we sort of have an idea where people started. where they went to, where they finished, the roller coaster of ADPs. But I can galaxy brain this Drake London at the 101 to get different, as long as he doesn't become a faller for BBM, because clearly he's off the board anywhere from 14 to 16 in a typical draft. I've seen him fall to 18, 19, but never really this far to 24. So this would be a way to get different, but you have to keep in mind who those players are you're drafting as well. Oof. Are we doing the double RB, or are we bringing Debo, Devontae?
Yeah, I think, well, maybe you want to do Debo here?
Let's go Debo.
That could be fun.
Let's go Debo.
I need a little more Debo. I get a lot of Ayuk, but I think I need a little more Debo.
Are you worried at all about the Ayuk situation?
A little bit. That's why because I'm pretty heavy too. So I mean, I do think he's talented. So I mean, even if he goes somewhere, hopefully it works out. But we'll see. I mean, anybody that's going this early.
Right.
I'm a little lighter on Adams. I don't know. I have trouble with that offense and getting older, even though.
I agree in a way, but he's still someone that I feel like you have to put him in this range. You have to. You might not like it, but the single game ceiling will still be there. It's just like, look who goes right after him. It's like Devontae Adams or Nico Collins, who also is going to be battling for targets this year.
Nico was pretty damn good. I mean, and Houston as an offense was pretty damn good. I mean, again, it's single season, single game upside. We'll see. The Houston guys are all expensive. So
I like Tank at his price comparatively.
That's who I take the most of as well.
Because you have to leverage it somehow. Like if you're just going to fade the whole team because of price, like I get it, but where are we leveraging that take?
I just think that the offense is going to put up points. I mean, you can be right or wrong. Maybe not everybody hits their ceiling that's going that early, but I don't want to be out on Houston by any means. I do have a lot of take. I tend to kind of do that most of the time. I'm like, if everybody's pretty talented, give me the cheaper guy.
Hell yeah. Dude, Frank with this, I love the start. Lamb, Devontae, and Jalen Waddle. What is life?
Yeah, I know you love yourself some Jalen Waddle, so.
Yeah, I'm a sucker for that. Devontae Adams at 23 too is really clean. Waddle, some of that started at like 42 in the big board. Wish it was the big board price, but I'm still taking him here too.
Oh, I still take him.
Kyron off the board at 28. Kyron's someone that we have as a super big faller in the off season. Let me see. Let me pull up the.
Well, we're on the clock.
Yeah. What do you like here? Because I'm okay with really anything. I'm okay with going Pittman, Henry. Wide receiver is going to fall off.
What do you think of doing? How about Cup?
Okay, we'll mix it up.
I was going to say Josh Allen, but
we'll mix it up.
Receiver, because I was thinking, I was like, because sometimes I was like, maybe with the correlation there.
We'll see what Nick does. Nick's a sucker for ADP, so he's going Pittman.
I'm a little low on Pittman right now.
Okay. Is that because of price mainly, or?
Anthony Richardson just doesn't. They added some stuff, and I just don't know how much everybody's going to necessarily get fed at this price, and then. He had, I don't know what the injury was. I heard he had some trainers around him the other day.
Bang knees is what it was reported as. It was downplayed as he slapped knees basically.
I mean, it
Well,
seems fine, but
he is up there in price, I will say. There is at least there's a little insurance with A Rich having Joe Flacco behind him for Pittman and the other receivers.
I take some of the other guys later, and I don't mind taking A Rich by himself. It's really Pittman's price.
Dude, Josh Downs, I think, is my number one drafted player post NFL.
I take a lot of Downs.
Oh, it's my. He's tied. He's tied with Roshan at 39%.
Okay, so I'm not taking Roshan hardly at all.
I like ETN here.
I don't think I have any ETN right now. Ooh, and that's not necessarily on purpose. It's just the way. So let's mix it up, because I definitely don't think that Tank is any good, and don't know who's. They always say they want to lighten his load, but I don't really know.
So I found out through playing around with one of the draft tools we're going to be coming out with soon that I go wide receiver. This is for the big board. I went wide receiver 80% of the time through 199 drafts in round 3. That is something that, like, if I knew that I was consistently doing that, I would probably have made a few changes. Now, that's Jalen Waddle. Like that 80%, like a lot of that is Jalen Waddle.
So how much Jalen Waddle do you have? Do you know?
I ended up with like 22 or 23%. So obviously it's not all Jalen, but a good portion of that is Jalen.
But that's so important. I think that's something like, I mean, I use sometimes some of those overlay tools, but whatever it is that you can use to analyze what you're doing, to take a look at the data and say, okay, because it's like, oh, I don't want, all 0 RB teams with this every time I get this one player.
Right.
I don't want all hero RB teams with this
right.
player. I don't want these, and
you want those different
Legendary
combos.
Upside, they've put out some articles recently and talked a lot about diversification. And it's the same thing. It's like, you just, be aware of what your bet is. It's okay to have an opinion or to make a bet on something, but know with your picks also what you're doing. Be aware of it.
Right.
Because it's like, maybe you like Jalen Waddle. Maybe you really think that that's an edge. Okay.
Right.
Go heavy on that, but you don't want the same combination with Jalen Waddle and 5 other guys at the same time.
So 50% of my Jalen Waddle, I'm sorry, 50% of my Joe Burrow Chase stacks had Waddle in the 3rd round. So that was like, oh, like that's way too much. So like if I knew that, I would have, like, if I go Chase, I'm probably gonna try to get a little different combos in that 3rd round, knowing that I have that much. So he put this together for me real quick, and as you can see, like wide receiver here, it's just it's probably too much. We'll see if it works, but I am happy about the late wide receiver. I will say that. Connor, welcome to the live stream, man. Feels like we need another Miami trip soon.
I didn't get to go on the first one. I did Vegas, but I didn't have to win a contest to get there.
It's okay. It's okay. Either did I.
Oh, were you the +1? I thought you won.
No, I was the +1.
Oh, lucky you.
Give us Pickens here at 56.
Okay, we're getting me new exposure. Pickens isn't. I have so much trouble with Pickens' price.
Where
would he be going if he didn't have those 2 games?
God, the price is.
I mean, the quarterback situation, Arthur Smith, it's scary. I do think he's talented, but that gets, everybody has their price.
10 picks after ADP. The problem I have with Pickens is, like, he doesn't seem like the player that's going to command 13, 14 targets, like 7 games in a row. Right. Like, it'll be like 6 targets one game. He'll jump up to 11. So we'll see this year, and who knows? Maybe if Russ plays the whole year, there could be some more consistency there, but if I had to guess, you're probably going to see both QBs, and who knows how that goes too.
And, Arthur Smith is not somebody I want to take his receivers.
It's fair. It's fair. I also have a small fade on Pickens too, and it's not because of the prototype, it's because of the price.
Yeah, no, it's totally price related. Like, I mean, I take Roman, but again, it's like I'll take the cheaper guy.
All right, let's see what we get to come back to us. White off the board. White feels like he has to fall a little bit more. If Kittle comes back to us, we can get this San Fran double.
I was not going to say it out loud, but I was thinking it. Hopefully your room is nice and doesn't want to snipe us.
Yeah.
They probably do that.
We'll see. It's Nicholas, so he could be out for blood right now. He goes worthy 5 picks after ADP. Can't really blame him there.
Yeah, no, I definitely. Yeah, let's go for it. Let's get Kittle so we can have that anchor-ish tight end.
Yeah, that's how I feel. When I go Kittle, I really like to bring in a tight end by like Schultz, not including Hawkinson.
I don't take any Hawkinson.
I feel comfortable stopping with 2 with Schultz. And Kmet could sneak in there depending on roster construction, but
I take Kmet when I have Caleb, or like I don't usually. He's just not a guy I take, but yeah, I'd probably call Kmet the cutoff. I'd probably stop it too.
Yeah.
With Kittle, I still usually stop it too, regardless. But I do like in general to still be done with tight end if possible by that range.
Right. Yeah, you can still stop with someone like Hunter Henry, and it's probably going to be okay. It's not going to be, you're not going to be the lightest in the room. You're not going to be the strongest at tight end, but that's where you can make up for it in different positions. What are your thoughts on Stevenson versus Montgomery? Because this is one that I can't let go. I have Stevenson ahead of Montgomery, and it's mainly because you're looking at who's the RB2 in New England, right? It's Antonio Gibson. We don't expect him to steal first and second down work, most of the goal line, especially with the fumbling issue. And then you have David Montgomery, who has Gibbs in front of him, but the offense is expected to score more points. So and they go relatively close to each other. I just see David Montgomery as like a good floor type player.
I like David. If David Montgomery falls at all past ADP or even right at ADP, depending on my build, I usually take him. I have a lot of trouble taking Ramondre. He wasn't very good. Like he played very bad last year.
The O-line was like Swiss cheese though. The O-line was terrible. If you look at years past on Ramondre, like yards after contact, like like advanced analytics, like people were loving him. Last year, it's tough to go by.
Yeah, but I don't, I don't know how good the O-line's going to be this year either. And like you say, it's just, again, in this range, I do still like taking a lot of times wide receiver. And if I am taking a running back, it tends to be David Montgomery. Because a lot of times I do like to start with, like, sometimes I feel comfortable starting with him as an anchor or not. But now we have 2 early running backs on this one. So I'm pretty comfortable pushing it. Or, if we did take somebody like David Montgomery here or something coming up, I would stop probably.
I have like no Kamara, pick 80. I sort of want to try and make this work.
Except I'm worried we're going to be too light at wide receiver.
We could skip this range. Because then we're going to come back to like the Shaheed, Lockett potentially.
All right.
Let's try it.
It's out of my comfort zone. It's out of my comfort zone.
We're officially out and 3 bye week 12s. Let's get gross. Let's get gross. Let's get gross. Our
that's bad because I don't want to take. Yeah, so
we have to stop at
I
5.
was gonna say,
We have to
I
stop
was
at
gonna
5.
say we could do 4, but not with 3 week 12s.
We're
See,
giving up week 12 here.
Yeah, we're
that was an
gonna need.
oversight.
Okay, yeah,
That was
was
an
a big
oversight.
we missed that. So yeah, we'll have to go 5 and no week 12.
The value. Let me peek where I have him on the rankings because I have him at 81. So for me to get him near where I have him ranked, and this could help us. Hey, birds in the skies here. This guy's got 5 running backs through 7 rounds. Please.
Except
keep scooping running backs.
Except we should have gotten David Montgomery because that would have been our bring back for San Francisco.
David Montgomery was off the board though.
Oh, well, just kidding.
But
I was like, what are week 17 here?
We can get JMO. We can get JMO for the bring back, but we'll probably have to go Purdy on the way back around at 104, basically right at ADP. Where's the Ayuk drafter though?
Yeah, I was like, look at where the other draft. See, I push quarterback
we could push
a lot.
JMO off the board.
I mean, we can see what other options. I mean, like if we
I don't mind scrolling too. Or we can just get Purdy. We might just have to get Purdy here.
Where's the Ayuk drafter?
Ayuk's before us. He has a QB, but
I mean, CMC could too.
Yeah. I think
but they have a QB.
I think we just do it. I would typically push it, but
I pushed, but yeah.
We're gonna reach up for Lockett, right? So if you're gonna do that, you may as well just get your QB.
So are you out on Rice?
Sorta. For a build like this, I would, if our 4th player was a receiver, I would love to bring in Rice as a wide receiver 5 and just house him, and then come back around and draft, running back.
We're gonna have to pound receiver here. We're pretty light.
Oh yeah, but this is the range of, this is where miracles happen.
So now I've heard you can't, have your own show if you're not touting Dontavian Wicks. So he's the new guy that we have to have.
I got the pushback. Yeah,
are you I'm
the pushback guy.
Oh, okay.
I'm a fade the crowd on this one, and I'm okay with it.
A different Green Bay receiver, or are you off of Green Bay altogether?
I like to go through the running game in Green Bay. I like to leverage it with the running backs.
Both or one? Do you have a preference?
I think Jacobs has to fall, so I'm not drafting a ton of Jacobs right now. Where we have him ranked since. Yeah, I have him at 44. So right now, so we're just fading Green Bay. Let me actually pull up my exposures because that will just tell a better story. Yeah, I have pretty much a soft fade on everyone in Green Bay. The Lloyd exposure has to go up.
Yeah, you want to balance those type of takes.
I'm just... Right, but I also think the draft season's so long too, right? So when we have more certainty on what's going on there, I'm okay with paying a little more for that certainty later in the season. That's when I really think of it like stocks and like the long game here. We can get Lockett too here. This would be a good start to the recovery.
Yeah, Lockett should be a pretty solid.
Okay.
I'm fine reaching on him a little bit.
The recovery starts now.
I mean, all of them. I mean, because we also have, some other. We'd start looking at some correlations. Because there's a couple of receivers I see that also fit that.
I got the sheet out myself. Can't believe. What are the chances? Green Bay will be a top 5 offense. We'll see. I do think that there are going to be pieces that succeed. I do think there's going to be pieces that fail, and that's okay. So my Green Bay exposures for the big board weren't that light. Actually, a lot of them were early we're relying on Aaron Jones to leverage that take. And then Aaron Jones gets the boot in Green Bay. So that was pretty funny there.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely don't think Josh Jacobs is going to get a bell cow rule, though. I think Lloyd's going to get plenty of work.
Mm-hmm. It's just hard for me to. It's hard for me to wrap my head around, these receivers having so many options around them, being good for anyone but Jordan Love. I'm cool with one of these two.
Let's go, Mike Williams.
Okay. Bring in the little mini with Breece Hall.
Yep, and that opens up another, later quarterback option too, if we need it. I do like to look sometimes and give myself outs and just kind of think, who is available, and because that allows me, like I said, I like to push things sometimes, especially if I do have a couple of receivers or stuff, so I don't feel like I'm forced at that moment, to have to take somebody, especially with like the pocket passer types. They're not somebody I have to have.
How about with a QB like Purdy? Would you stop with Purdy Stafford, or would you look to bring in, especially like on a team like this, would you look to bring in like Justin Fields with your 17th round pick or 18th? Are you ever doing that?
Yes, I've started to mix in Fields. If we could have stopped at the 4 running backs, yes. But the way we kind of backed ourselves into a corner, I don't know if we have that luxury.
That was me. Usually I'm like the balance, like I'm always touting balance drafting. So like when a falling value comes to you, you can scoop it. So we were balanced at the time we took Kamara. It was just now we kind of get backed into this corner. But guess what? We get Lockett to fall to us. We get a falling Mike Williams. So far it's turning out fine. Just like we planned.
Yeah, but I don't feel like we have the luxury to skimp on some of the other positions with this build. So we'll probably have to just hope that they stay healthy. And I mean, both those offenses could be very high power offenses. I could tell myself a story and be okay with those guys at quarterback. But in general, I think the round 18, now that he's that cheap, in the right builds, that Fields is fine, especially when you don't need another position there.
And what I really like about what we did too was San Fran, the Rams, and the Jets. They each play each other. Is it the Jets or San Fran? Let me double check.
No, the Jets play the Buffalo.
Rams. Yeah, so San Fran plays the Rams week 15. So it's a mini. Okay. It's a week 15.
At week 15. I did look a little bit at week 16, but not really week 15.
We snuck a little week 15 correlation to this one.
Well, you want to go?
I'm okay with going Shakir here. Yeah,
let's go Shakir, and we got a little correlation there.
Yes. Yeah, Buffalo Jets week 17. So now I do think Rodgers becomes a pretty big target for us, especially with a late option with comp.
What is his bye week?
It's 12. It's 12. It's 12. It's 12.
We don't need to do any more double ups.
No, RB. We are officially backed into a corner away from bye week 12, and we probably need to focus someone that have a role.
We might want to, so we might want to look at.
We got Nick picking before us, so let's.
Well, we're not going for Michael Wilson, so we're safe. I had to say it. I had to say it.
Oh no, sniper. Go Zeke. Yeah, Zeke would have been maybe good for floor. For RB4, but
we don't need to.
I also don't mind.
We don't need to push running back necessarily. What about Lloyd? What's there at tight end? We can do Lloyd as long as he's not 12.
Tight end, we can wait.
Yeah,
we can wait. Yeah, he's 10 by week 10. Okay. The recovery starts now. Marshawn Lloyd is going to have a role by week 12. That's I mean, if he doesn't, it's It's pretty bad. So I am a little worried about AJ Dillon there, just being a change of pace back. Even if Josh Jacobs were to go down, it's not going to be 100%. Lloyd's not getting 80%. Like they would mix in Dillon, still a good amount in my opinion.
Yeah, in that case they would, but I mean we're still not drafting him thinking he's ever going to be a bell cow. So this price,
right.
I mean, I'm fine with it. I want to believe that. And Dillon is pretty bad. So I mean, even if they rotate some guys in,
yes. Dillon is a team mascot. But the problem I have with that is like Kendre. Sure, there's Taysom Hill. Let's not talk about Taysom Hill. If Kamara goes down, Kendre is taking most of Kamara's work, a large majority. Where if Jacobs goes down, Lloyd would take over a good amount. But there's still a thorn in his side. Green Bay did re-sign Dillon, so it'll be interesting. Same thing with Ray Davis. Like if James Cook goes down, we expect Ray Davis to be like the clear number 2 there. So it's just same thing with Algier. So that's the only problem I have with Marshawn. But I do like Green Bay and how they run their offense with the running backs. They get that number 2 guy a good amount of touches. So, and now you have Jacobs hurt. So drafting around news right now, I think Lloyd's a fine click.
I think Algier is one of the best clicks on the board.
Let's go.
I mean, it's an offense that we actually know. I mean, there's so many offenses we don't know who the number 2 is or how things are. I mean, we clearly know, and we know the contingent value, even if he doesn't get the same touch as he did last year. I mean, we think they're going to be a pretty good team this year, betting on it. And he goes late. It makes no sense.
Great running back room by Logan. I'd be stopping here with these 5. We have Algier ranked at 145 right after Ray Davis. I don't see a reason why he shouldn't be in that 145 range. Staffy, baby, come back. What do you think? With our wide, we're leaning into Cup to yes.
Okay.
Or we can go Rodgers, and we have that game stack with Buffalo.
For me, it's either Stafford or Sinnott. Let's go Stafford.
Okay.
I like Stafford still better than Rodgers.
The only thing with Rodgers is we could have brought in the double with.
There's a couple options for Stafford late.
I agree. They probably don't get drafted enough.
There's 2 different positions you can look at. I don't want to give away too much. Yeah.
I know where you're going. I don't worry too much about, like, I'm not personally taking a ton of DeMarcus Robinson unless I need like a floor play. If I don't have Stafford, I'm not taking a ton of DeMarcus Robinson. I'm typically focusing like ceiling plays at the end of these drafts. So I don't really mind talking through players that I guess I wouldn't absolutely mind getting stolen on stream. Maybe hide a couple.
He's a red zone threat though, so he's got that touchdown upside.
Yeah.
And
Steph getting love from the chat. Always. Guys, if you're just joining us, go down, slap the like on the live stream. We're going to be doing a 24-hour live stream if we hit 2,000 subs. So hit the sub if you guys are new. And give Steph a follow. I'll put her Twitter information in the comments here. Let's do a little copy. I got to put this in the description of the video. We'll be there in just a sec. Ooh. It's on us. And who did I have in mind? Hunter Henry. Hunter Henry went.
Take Sinnott.
Okay.
I don't have any. And he's falling. He's on top.
I love that. Take Sinnott I'm getting pumped up from the energy Steph just gave off.
Because
I don't have any.
He's usually gone, and now he's falling.
I'll fall on the
sword.
So I'm like, I get it.
We need it.
I'll fall on the sword
because I'm not going to keep chasing him up the board. So it's like he's somebody I'd like to get some exposure to now. We need to have an H back if we're going to have no tight ends.
That was perfect. This, in my opinion, screams 3 tight end team now. What do you think? Kittle and Senate, would you lean in on
We'll
those?
have to see.
I'm cool with that.
I go thin sometimes at I have some thin rooms. People look at my teams and are like, Stephanie, this is not okay. And I'm like, no, it's fine. It didn't even cross my mind that other people would think some things are thin.
We're good. Trust. Now Rachel
Wide receiver is where I'm very rarely thin. But
this is the best. Yeah, you just have to cut me off sometimes. It's the Italian in me. The capital I.
Mine's the ADHD that I interrupt people sometimes, so I apologize.
What a mix. What a mix. So we're probably going to stop here no matter what at 8 receivers. And we're probably going to need the full 8 just because of the prototype. Just because of the prototype, though, like spike weeks depends on spike weeks. So this team actually does need, in my opinion, a little Demarcus Robinson. Just not clicking too.
Or who does?
It's crazy. He's actually at 193. All right, Josh. Arizona. Josh in the live stream.
Wait, we need to take Michael Wilson to go with Arizona.
Do we need the Michael Wilson bring back?
No.
Yeah, Nick, we're going to take Michael Wilson.
We need the Zay Jones bring back.
Facts.
That's who I would take if Nick wasn't sitting there and it would piss him off. I wouldn't do that, though.
Damn. What do you think about QB here? What are your thoughts with stopping with Purdy and Staffy or bringing in? I think we have to lean into these two, right?
Yeah. I think with this team, I would like to still keep an option for something else here.
Well, yeah. If we go a third QB, we probably can't go a third tight end. And with this combo, I think we're going to want a third. So this is going to be an interesting one. 4 picks remaining. We need 1 running back. Kind of put ourselves. I did it. I'll take ownership of that. I put us in a bad situation at running back with the 3 bye-week 12s, but it's only 1 week, so it's not too big a deal. Are you okay with reaching up for Rashawn here?
I don't take Rashawn, so you sell me here. I usually take Herbert over him. I'm not really touching.
I'm on Team
Hubbard.
Rashawn.
So are you just thinking that Herbert's traded?
No, I think Rashawn's going to have a role, if not in the red zone, in the passing game. What do you think about Dobbins?
Scared of Achilles.
Yeah, I agree with that.
But no, go ahead and take Rashawn. I'll give you that one.
We'll go Rashawn. He should at least provide a little bit of a floor. I do think bringing in Swift hurts Herbert more than
I think
Rashawn,
it's the opposite.
That's one of those backfields that it's just like, all right, we're just have to wait and see. And it's funny how they go back to back because there's a split decision in the fantasy football crowd too. Bateman getting some love today, so we see him rising up a little bit.
I do take Bateman again because I'm a sick person. Wasn't hurt enough last year. Even caught myself saying he's the end of the tier of the crap now. I was like,
Chris Baggs yesterday is on the Rashawn too. It's funny because it really is. It is split. It's almost like last year's like Alexander Madison. Like you were either a Madison fan or you weren't. There was like no in between. Like, oh yeah, like I'm mixing him in. Like, no, I think he's an RB1, bro. It's like, no,
that was not me.
He's ass. Oh. Or we can go correlation, but I'm indifferent.
Let's go DeMarcus.
Okay. Give us a little bit of floor. Give us the double stack. We're at 7 receivers now with 2 rounds left.
I'm fine with
it's probably receiver tight end, right?
Yeah. Well, definitely receiver. I'd almost argue 2 receivers, but I'll let you have your tight end.
Yeah, I think there's gonna be diminishing returns on a second receiver here. We definitely have enough, right? Like we're leaning into in week 17, you're leaning into 2 of these 3 spiking. Then we're leaning into 1 of the next 5, and then you're probably leaning into 2 of these 3, and then one of your remaining running backs to hit the flex when you go this early RB.
Yeah, I mean we're leaning on our guys. The only reason, like I said, I would have felt pretty comfortable stopping sooner if we had.
Yeah, if this was like by week 10 or whatever.
Well, I mean the bye weeks in general matter, and I mean taking like literally a 0 and possibly multiple positions would have been bad.
Yeah, you can't do that. You can't do that. Right. It's so close from second to third place, especially in a contest that's 2 out of 12 advance. Yeah. I want to say it was ETR that put out a graph of like what was the advance difference between second and third place last year, and it was I believe it was in the single digits. So
yeah, it was a pretty small. I think you might be right. And then somebody put out something about how bye weeks actually do affect your advance rate a lot more than some of us were letting on.
I'm okay with doing a tight end. Like tight end is one of the spots that if you want to give up
pull
1
up
week,
the tight end tab so I can see all who's there.
It doesn't look great. We're looking at Jelani, Sanders,
by far out of this group.
Yeah, Chig. We could almost go wide receiver.
Well, we have Jack. Well, no, I think we need to hit that end because Chig is still alive. The rest are dead to me. I say take Chig here.
All right. The rest are dead.
Well, we have Jackson. We have ETN, so that's another little mini.
I like it. I'm so used to clicking Tank Bigsby. I'm so used to clicking Tank Bigsby in this range that
he's so bad.
There's just more certainty. There's more certainty with Tank Bigsby.
He literally lost the points every time he got on the field. They put him out there for a play. They'll take him right back off. Like he is horrible. I'd take Dearness Johnson before I take him.
Dearness Johnston. Oh dear. Okay, let's settle.
Let's go there.
Let's settle on Evan Hull. Evan Hull is not a bad scroll down right now.
I want a little more certainty, but I hope it's him. I did take him some in big board.
The coach speak is at least good with Tank Bigsby right now. And then the team going ahead and really not adding anything. Like,
yeah, they didn't have a lot.
Like, he's got Dearness Johnson's been MIA for a little bit.
I'm just pretty convinced that Tank is pretty bad. And like I said, when you cost your team.
Boy, he had 2 fumbles that were just absolutely brutal. One lost the game for them because it was on their side of the field. I remember it was bad, but I still think with the coach talk and then the team's actions of not bringing in another running back, really, that's at least scary. Like Dearness Johnson, I don't think is really a threat to take over the RB2 role. So I think at this point of the offseason, I don't mind Tank Bigsby in the 17th.
Trying to think of what our
at Edwards Hilaire is pretty funny. What do you think about?
Slow down! I can't see everybody.
It's pretty gross here. Rondell Moore's also not awful.
I'm pretty sure that's awful. I'd rather.
Oh, you're not wrong.
Is Tolbert there?
Tolbert's gone. Damn. Hyatt it is. Hyatt it is. Knew this was going to be a tough run. We're going to take a peek at the Pounders drafts as well. We'll see if We'll see how they voted. Nick with AJ Brown and Hertz early stack. I like that. Henry and Drake London with Terry McLaurin. This is a fun start for Nick. So I'm sure Nick had a good draft. Ours, I definitely took us off the beaten path with the Kamara click. So I'm going to mark this one down. We have to see where we're at by week 12. I'm going to say check week 12. We're going to need I think we're going to need a little bit of a lead here. But it's a fun squad. Like we brought in.
It is different. It's different than my normal style. I'll say that.
Spike week guy after spike week guy. And with a little bit of floor here too. A little bit of floor. But
getting the extra receiver.
This was fun. This was fun. We'd really need ETN to smash in this case. Too bad. If I saw Kamara, and this is on me, if I saw Kamara had a bye week 12, that's all I needed to not draft him too. Someone that I'm fading.
Yeah, with the other two. It's different when you go in the zero RB room and planning on taking a bunch. Then you still had more time to
I got sucked in. I got sucked in. I had the
week
spoons
12,
out.
week 14.
I had the spoons out. All right, Josh in the one spot. Joe Burrow, Caleb Williams with McCaffrey, Moss, Blake Corum, Chandler, Esme. Hero running back build with CMC. I think it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I'm fine with that room. I mean,
maybe a 6th
don't know what's going
RB, but let's see the rest. Ooh, the Khalif Raymond click coming back to life. DJ Moore, Keenan Allen, T. Higgs, Addison, Ricky Pearsall, Michael Wilson, Zay Jones, and Khalif.
I mean, the end's a little gross, but I don't mind.
He's got the nice little double stack.
There's a lot of the guys I would take at the end together on one team.
Yeah.
And I saw this comment, but Flowers also did play snaps where he didn't fumble. That's the difference. Not every time he was on the field.
He had to, though. They had no one else.
Mistakes. Well, it's like it's not saying that people don't have mistakes sometimes, but literally every time, the only time you play, you fuck up. That's a problem.
Right. When it becomes a habit, especially like that's something they're going to be looking at this year. Tank could probably lose that RB2 role pretty easily if he doesn't improve as being able to hold on to that ball. So I think you're right there. But a little double stack with Caleb. We're seeing a little stack with Moss and T. Higgs. The receiver room is probably on the bottom half of the draft, but yeah, Laporta, Hawkinson, Musgrave. I can't take 3 with Laporta. The price is just, if you're going to take Laporta at 25, you have to lean in.
I feel torn about this one. Like, I get the idea of them trying to do it because of Hawkinson. Mm-hmm. But I think that if you're like, I don't mind, maybe I don't take Hawkinson because I really think he's going to legitimately miss so much of the season and then it might still not be healthy even when he comes back. Mm-hmm. But if I was going to do it, I could take him with like a super elite guy.
Pitts. Bye week 12.
See, that's what I was going to say. Laporta's bye week's too early, but the idea of it. So I kind of get where they're trying to layer and why they took 3 with this. But like you say, it's still a lot of capital to give up.
Besides that, I think it's relatively balanced. I would have liked to see one more receiver earlier than Ricky here after going 24, 48, 49, 72. It's not a ton invested at receiver, but I like the QB pairing. I like some of the stacks he got. So if they can prove to be good values, it could work. Frank in the 2 spot, Dak and Tua. Good combo there. Josh Jacobs at 47, Connor, Pollard, Miller, Chuba at 191. That feels about right. Justice Hill at 215. It's crowded. It's crowded in Baltimore, like, especially if you think of like end of season. Like, do you need Justice Hill for the early season? That's the way I look at Justice Hill. Do I need sort of like a change of pace, third down back to get me points to survive the early portion of the season? Do I have Nick Chubb? Do I have Cooks who might start slow? No, I think you have a good amount of carries here between these top 3. So I'm not going to bring in a ton of Justice Hill, especially in this scenario.
Already spent. I don't mind Justice Hill as a click in general right now. Getting some of the news on Mitchell that, he might be a
He's going to
little
miss.
behind. And Justice Hill was the number 2 before that. So, they have Ollie, but it might be Justice Hill
Rookie.
to lose that before, he would see the field in there. But like you say, they already have, this is just too many running backs on this team.
Yeah, good amount of investment here, just in these 3, and then you get the fall on Chuba too. I think you could stop there. Lamb, Adams, Waddle, awesome start. Keon Coleman, Leggett, Mims, McCaffrey, and Tolbert. I like what he did here. I'm seeing the tight ends too, and tight ends are nice as well. So really, I think that pick was probably a luxury pick, to be honest.
It was.
And that's the way Frank drafts, is he's balanced. And when you get that luxury pick at the end, I would prefer it at receiver on this team. But again, if Tolbert ends up being a good value for his price, or Luke McCaffrey, like this, it can boost this team.
Yeah, I probably would have gone receiver myself, but it definitely was a luxury pick. Everything else is still strong enough.
Yeah. Good draft, Frank. Pick 3, Logan, with Jordan Love and Kirk Cousins sort of leaning into those 2 middle round QBs like we did. I guess Staffy's fringe. So we were even weaker. Stevenson, Harris, Singletary, Chubb, and Algier. I like this running back room. So sort of like a late double anchor, sort of like a modified double anchor. Reaches up for Najee at 75. Singletary is the RB3. Chubb, you can house Chubb if he starts slow or misses games with these 3. Like I really like that, like the strategy and the thinking behind this team.
Yeah, I'm still worried about Chubb, but when he falls.
And you have 3 running backs, starting running backs in front.
And that's, like you say, that's the right way to do it if you're going to do it, to layer it in.
Chase, Evans, Metcalf, Reed, Cooks, Corley, Baker, A.T. Perry, and Tyler Boyd. I'm good with it. I think you actually have a good amount of ceiling and floor. With the Cooks, Evans, Chase, like you have a good amount of ceiling here. Even Javon Baker and Tyler Boyd. Is Tyler Boyd going to spike into the lineup on this team?
Yeah,
that's what I kind of have a. Okay.
I'm pretty worried about Burks at the moment.
That's super fair.
Because I was taking him late, and that got me off.
Yeah.
Unless I'm hoping they still maybe trade him. That would be awesome.
Yeah, there's the Burks people, and then there's the Herbert drafters. Like, oh, we just need a trade, and we'll be fine. Just close your eyes.
I'm team trade on both of them. No.
Kyle Pitts and Jonnu Smith. I'm okay with leaning into these 2. I think that's fun.
Yeah,
Kyle Pitts.
Pitts is. You're spending an early round. You're scared of the 2 tight ends. I've noticed a little bit.
No, I'm not. No,
well,
I'm okay. I'm okay with
this.
Here.
Where's your elite here?
It goes up to Kittle.
Okay.
Kittle's like the fringe. Kittle's the fringe.
So Ingram outside of where you would take it to?
I love Ingram. Like I have a lot more Ingram than I have Kittle. Especially because of where he was going to start the big board. A lot more. That being, he was my number 1 drafted tight end at 20% through 199 teams. Okay. So I like that range. I also had 15% Pitts, but he started at 100. Pitts here, if Kirk Cousins stays healthy, Kirk Cousins loves his tight ends. Pitts is going to be the second favorite target, like clearly on this team. Kirk Cousins also likes to throw the ball a lot. So if Kirk Cousins is healthy, like I don't see a way that Pitts doesn't pay off, and I'm good with leaning into that. And then with Jonnu at 190, he just seems like even if he has like 2 or 3 spike weeks this year, like you're getting him for a good price.
I'm not quite as excited about Jonnu, but I am excited about Pitts in Atlanta for sure. I'll take some Jonnu. Usually it's correlated for me.
Yeah.
They just, again, don't, they're so concentrated and just don't throw to their tight ends that much.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll see. Maybe they will more.
Yeah, and
with a better option.
Seeking Jonnu is kind of my theory behind it. Them going out and seeking Jonnu in free agency. CJ Stroud and Deshaun Watson for King of QC in the 4 spot. We had 4 pounders in a row to start this draft from. A lot of good teams early. Stroud and Watson, Kyron at 28, Montgomery, Warren, Chase Brown, and Bucky Irving. I like this running back room too. Even though I have Kyron falling more than this, he's just gonna be someone I draft later in the summer.
I'm going to push Kyron right now. I'm probably not going to take him because I agree he's going to fall, and there's no reason to get him at this moment. But I do like the layout of the room.
100%.
When you have Warren and Chase Brown, I'm pretty excited. That's
all it takes. It's all it takes.
I like Irving too quite a bit because I'm pretty low on White as a talent. So
yeah, I think that's a good correlated take there as well. But yeah, the good capital here, I think that's correct for capital wise. Tyreek Hill, Nico Collins, Amari Cooper, Roma Dunes, Cortland Sutton, Jerry Jeudy, Devontae Walker, and Noah Brown, the rare Noah Brown click, a big board favorite to start the year.
I don't hate it when you have Stroud. It makes sense.
Yeah.
He's probably going to take an injury, but we saw him spike. It's been there, so
yeah,
they had a rapport.
Awesome. Could just be a week 17 dart throw that he gets like a Rashid Shaheed type game. Komet, Freiermuth, and Gesicki. Yeah, I definitely agree with going 3 here. What are your thoughts on Gesicki and just the tight end room there? Are you worried at all about the rookie?
I just don't know what the room's going to look like.
Yeah.
Gesicki's I'm not taking. Maybe if I have Burrow.
Okay.
But if it was in desperation even, then it still probably wouldn't be my preferred click. I want more. I just think it's somewhere we could wait until we got a little more confirmation.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like to take zeros.
I'm on Team Gesicki. It's more leaning into his athletic ability. Now that hasn't worked for him yet in his career. Just like Noah Fant. Hasn't worked yet.
I'm a Dynasty player. Trust me, I know.
Yeah. So, but to land in Cincy, you would think the field would be happier, right? Like, look at last year where what's his face went. I'm gonna blank on him because I took like literally 0 of him since he's tight end last year. He went in like the 150 range. Irv Smith Jr.
Irv Smith.
Like, people are still hurt from that experience. That's my theory. I like Gesicki in this range, especially as a 3rd tight end. So I'm really good with this team. Get some late correlation with a late Judy
it could be a good role.
Cooper. Yep. And last but not least, Nicholas in the 9 spot, our draft neighbor for this one, Jalen Hurts and Jaden Daniels. Fun. Screams fun combo. Derrick Henry, Robinson, Elliott, Antonio Gibson, Dobbins, and Foreman.
The fun ended with quarterback.
That's funny. I'm still okay with this as a hero running back room where you're still going to get touches from Elliott. You have some floor with Gibson. Henry's going to be your guy that you're relying on. And if Dobbins somehow finds a role on 3rd, we know Gus Edwards is like out on 3rd down. 3rd and 5. Like,
what's the average age of that running back room, do you think?
Well, with
I'm just kidding.
With the rookie brings it down at least.
It's fine being layered in a little bit.
Yeah. In this scenario, it makes sense where he has floor play. I'm cool with bringing in that small % outcome that, he gets a large role on a run first offense. AJ Brown, Drake London, Terry McLaurin, Worthy, J-Mo, Jahan Dotson, and Roman Wilson. I'm okay with leaning into this. I like that a lot. He's got the double stack.
I probably would have taken an extra.
Yeah, and again, he's leaning into Worthy and Roman Wilson in here. Obviously, an uptick in JMO, who dropped a pass today, but he beat the defender. So you got to find the positives. I'm okay with it.
If there was one more earlier wide receiver, I would have been okay with stopping at it. But I'm also really, I know he took Dotson for the correlation, but I have no faith that there's a lot of risk there. A lot of risk. But
I don't mind it. I don't mind it correlated
myself, but
3 tight ends with Fergie, Sanders, and Jelani Woods.
I hate it. Damn. I think he's taking 2 zeros pretty much.
Damn. I'm okay with the Jelani Woods click.
Is he going to play? He hasn't played for a year.
So, like now,
they got like 4 guys.
In BBM, not as much, but in a contest that's going to fill very quick, like the Pug, I'll mix him in. It's just, by the way, mentioning the Pug, slow draft a few, please, for a little plus EV. More information than what 70% of drafters. So slow draft a couple of the Pugs. I did one fast draft because wanted to draft today. It is what it is. Davis Maddock was in my room, and we had a fun time. But I'm okay. I'm okay with this tight end room. It's more for me. Like, look at the investment. The investment. If you take the player takes out of it,
getting zeros at possibly 2 of the 3 positions.
Sorry, Nick. I tried my best to make you look good.
I would be a lot more gentle. People that don't know, if it wasn't Nick. It's only Nick that I'm allowed to be this harsh on. If I was assessing other people, I would be a little bit. I'd still be honest, but I would have had a little bit softer delivery.
Okay, all right. So we got a little bit of bias here. That's what we're witnessing. Josh, good shout here, says the Pug's almost full, and that is a 3 entry max $12 tournament. Pretty fun advance rates too. It's a
great structure. I'm about to try to do one when I get off. It's
perfect.
I did one earlier, and then I entered one slow, so I got one more to do.
2 out of 12, 1 out of 5, 1 out of 5, 62 seat final. You're going to want to focus advance rate. So this is basically 1 out of 6. So if you think of it like this, 1 out of 6, 1 out of 5, 1 out of 5, your toughest room is your weeks 1 to 14. So focus the advance rates. It's going to be sort of the plus EV mindset. And then 62 seat final, you don't have to worry about overstacking, bringbacks, like all that. Although if you can stack your favorite game for week 17, all the power to you. Like when we got this double stack with Houston and the Mark Andrews bring back, thing of beauty. So if you guys don't want to draft it now after seeing my team, I fully understand.
So with those contests, I'll say, I think, with it being such a small final, you don't need, really to focus at all hardly on the week 17. You could still team stack.
I agree.
Like, getting one thing right and going that route. But, really taking advantage at ADP, getting just a power team that way, and getting your correlations without necessarily worrying about the game stack, because you're only competing against a few other people in that final. You don't need the nuts.
Definitely. And that's where I bring in Derek Carr, because I think he's a good advance rate play, just as like a value. But I
take so much Derek Carr. It's disgusting.
Yeah. I would love to do like a cash game draft with you one of these days, where it's just we're picking the best picks based off value and not thinking about, like the correlation stuff. And a lot of people ask me about just how to manage their bankroll. And I try to tell people it's boring. It's a boring approach, but you should be mixing in probably 70. If you are worried about that and you want to grow it over the span of time, it's like leaning into cash games and then doing tournaments as like your fun play, like shooting for the moon. But if you want to grow it steadily, I recommend cash games.
I mean, in the past, even though it's DFS related, Adam Levitan used to write quite a bit about managing your portfolio. He's got some free articles that said from the past, it was on DFS, but he says very similar about, because that was his game, was grinding cash games and stuff.
and he built a bankroll very successfully. So that's someone smarter than me that you should definitely listen to. So appreciate everyone coming out tonight. If you haven't already, go down, slap the like on the live stream. We're doing a 24-hour live stream at 2K subs. Give Steph a follow on the Twitter machine. The link is in the comments. She puts out great content with legendary upside, ship chasing. Her Dynasty content is unbelievable. How many leagues do you run?
I'm only running 2 myself.
Nice. That's manageable.
And they're best ball, so I don't have to set lineups and stuff. But yeah, I'll be managing a lot of teams in season.
Steph is best ball at everything. Stay sharp.
And then, yeah.
That's awesome. Steph, thank you for coming on. Today was obviously a wreck because I drafted Alvin Kamara. But besides that, your presence here is always welcome. And we always learn something when you come on the stream. So thank you.
It's always fun to come on and hang out with you guys.
All right, guys. Appreciate you. Have a good night. We'll catch you on the next one. Pounders.